Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Rest is Football with Alan Shearer, Micah Richards and me, Gary Lineker. It's been a busy week of Champions League action. I really do like this format, I must say. It keeps it really interesting. Every game's big. Every game's really important. Let's start with Manchester City. I mean, God blimey, 1 win in 10 now. Nothing's happening for them. They've just lost their mojo at the moment, haven't they, completely?
I was at the game. And you know, when you watch it on TV and you watch it at the game, you look for certain things or something a little bit different. I really believe they're doing okay with the ball until sort of the final third. So I think they had like...
It's quite an important bit though, isn't it?
Yeah, but when we talked about City in previous seasons, they'd keep the ball, but then they'd find a way to score. So when Kevin De Bruyne played it through to Haaland, previously, he would have scored that and they might have gone on and got the second and the third. So I wouldn't say it's confidence by looking at them because they're all trying to get on the ball and teams are setting up differently against them and just saying, okay, well, in midfield, we know they've not got the legs as before. We're going to target that area. We're going to sit a little bit deeper as they did and then hit them on the counter-attack because they can't deal with that at the moment. And Alan always says it. It's at both ends, isn't it? I mean, they're not scoring and they're conceding a hell of a lot of chances. And sometimes, in previous seasons, they'd get away with that, especially with Kyle Walker's recovery pace. But at the moment, they just look too easy to play against.
Since the start of November, they've conceded more goals, 21, across all competitions than any other team from Europe's Big Five leagues. You never dreamt in a million years you'd say something like that of a Pep Guardiola team.
Can you imagine if they didn't make it through to the next round, if they got eliminated? It's like, it would be wow. I mean, they've got PSG next, haven't they, away? PSG are outside, they're in danger also of being knocked out, but my goodness, it would be, what a story that would be if they failed to qualify.
Well, you know, when you guys are watching them, what's different for you guys? I mean, I watch City pretty much every week, and there's little tweaks that they need to do. I would say there are some players who are struggling with confidence and they're not being decisive. But like, what is it from you guys' eyes that you're seeing that?
What I see is that energy to win the ball back immediately when they lose it. The high press from everybody, that dynamic press that they do, that thing where they've got to try and win it back within 5 to 7 seconds and all over you. I don't see that at the moment. I think teams are finding a way through them. Seems to be a lot more space in midfield. Now, obviously, we know Rodri's not playing, which is a big miss. And then obviously it will be in the head a lot of it. It will, because we know what form's like. It's a very strange thing. You know, suddenly you can be everything, everyone believes, you believe, and then suddenly you get a little bit, well, things are not quite they were, and a little bit tentative. But I just think they've just lost that little spark and the energy levels have dipped a bit. But I saw Pep talking in his pre-match conference, and I thought he'd spoke a lot of sense about, yes, it's a patch, but he said how they played so well in the previous 6 seasons is more interesting and more fascinating. How they've managed to keep that for going so long. A bad patch is much easier to explain, but he also said we'll overcome it. I said I can't tell you when, but we will, and I'm sure he will. But it's an interesting challenge for Pep Guardiola and a real test for him, for one that he's always passed his test so far, but this is a different kind of test.
It's the legs in midfield for me, the turnover. You know, they're all right in possession and they're still passing it and they were still creating, but it's the turnover. You know, it's going the recovery. I think that's one of their biggest issues where they're so open. With Bernardo Silva, with Gundogan in that midfield, you're lacking a bit of intensity, I think, and certainly what Gary says, the legs and that press when you've lost the ball. That's the big change, big minus for me, I think. Huge.
I think you're absolutely right about that. But so they're under pressure. As you said, PSG away, and then they've got Club Brugge in the last game. But that's at home. You'd expect them to win that. I still think they'll creep into that middle block and end up in the playoffs. Don't forget now it pauses until January as well. We've never had Champions League games in January before, but that will be a first. The other 3 England teams, however, are all in the top 5, going well. I think there's only 3 points separates the teams from 3rd to 19th, so it's going to be very interesting over the next 2 games. But Arsenal have got themselves into a really good position with a comfortable win against Monaco. Had been going well in the Champions League, so their final 2 games are Dynamo Zagreb at home and Girona away. So they're in good shape, Arsenal.
Saka again, man. What a season he's having.
2 goals last night.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
2 goals.
Incredible, yeah. Arsenal are looking comfortable. They're looking good. So I would be more than hopeful that they would finish in the top 8.
It's looking good for Arsenal, though, isn't it? And I think it's good to see because there's points in the season where we was talking about them being a different team from when they was at home, when they was away. I think we're starting to see consistency from Arsenal now. And you can see they're growing in confidence and belief. And no matter who they're playing now, they're putting in good shifts. And I always said with Arteta, I think because he's so adaptable, it makes him a very good manager. I think they've still got to build on that confidence. And when they come to play bigger teams, play like they did the other day. They were brilliant. Saka was pressing. Odegaard was excellent. I thought Jesus did quite well as well. Not in terms of like putting his chances away, but in terms of his work rate.
He just can't get himself a goal, can he? Just can't get himself a goal.
You feel so sorry for him, but the work that he puts in for the team was brilliant. And has been brilliant. I know he started so well. It's been frustrating. He got the injury, come back from the injury. He's been a shadow of the player. But a lot of the good work with Arsenal come from his hard work, and he got his assist, didn't he? So yeah, I was happy for him.
He does run himself into the ground. He's got a lot of quality. He's in a rut, isn't he, in terms of the goals thing? But I'm sure he'll come out of it. You mentioned Saka there. Just saw a stat. I don't know who decides these things, but he's the highest rated player in the Champions League thus far this season, with a score of 7.77. So there you go. How about that?
Yeah, he's an awesome player, whatever the stat is. I mean, you don't have to look at the stat to see that. What a player, man. He's just unbelievable. Love his. We've said it so
consistent.
many times.
How many times have you said it, Al? He's just so he's so good, you know. He's so like it's hard to explain.
Brilliant.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of people like Cole Palmer, they do things that are, how can I say, different? But Saka is just, he does the basics really well with good energy, work rate, and then he's consistent. Yeah, he's a player, man. He is. He's a top player. He's
absolutely a top player. The way he goes, he makes beating defenders look very easy, isn't it? He can go both ways.
But it's just a drop of the shoulder.
That's all it is. But they can't cope with him.
It's not Ronaldinho, is it? Or it's not a lovely flick that Cole Palmer would do. It's just that balance and drop of the shoulder. He goes past people so easy. Oh, he's amazing to watch. Amazing to watch.
A little word on a youngster who came in and played at fullback, Miles Lewis-Skelly, who I thought he did really well to come in, because obviously Arsenal have got 1 or 2 injuries. I think Arteta said after the game he's got a chance of claiming that left-back spot for Arsenal, which is high praise indeed. So it's good to see young players coming through and thriving.
Yeah, I think even Arteta made a point of talking about him after the game, didn't he? That would be great for him and for his belief going forward and confidence and all of those things. So yeah, good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think when the team's I know the players are fully, with Timber and Ben White, it'd be difficult, but it was great to see. We always want young players to get a chance, but when they get a chance, take it. And he took his chance yesterday, so yeah, it was great.
Liverpool maintained their 100% winning record. Arne Slot, I saw in an interview saying he was delighted with the result, but not really happy with their performance. But 3 points is the main thing. They've now got a 3-point lead at the top. 6 games played in the Champions League stage. 6 games won. It's just rolling on.
I'll have to be led by you guys on this one. I saw the main incidents in the game, but because I was doing the Aston Villa game, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Salah penalty. Did you think it was a penalty? It's a bit harsh, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was one of 50-50 ones, wasn't it? I think it's if they give it, they stick with it. If they don't, they overturn it. I don't know, but they do seem to give things more in Europe anyway. I find. I mean, they do seem to give penalties for anything.
But Liverpool, man, it's just like 6 out of 6, and it's just been unbelievable, hasn't it? Their form all season, and in particular in the Champions League, is phenomenal.
They're just so solid, aren't they, at the back as well?
Yeah, they're solid, aren't they? Even losing Konate, Gomez can come in, or Kwanzaa can come in. And I keep saying they've still got a level to go. Liverpool are in this great position now, but they still can play better. Even Slot was talking about it. He wasn't happy with the performance. They let teams play in the first half. And if a team was to score in that first half, it's how they would react to it. But for somehow they're managing to keep sort of clean sheets or keep the game down to a bare minimum. And in the second half, they're lifting off. It's mad to see, but yeah, the favourites out there for everything. Was in the press conference with Ancelotti after the Real Madrid game as well. And he was saying Liverpool are the best team that they've played in the Champions League. And I think that's it's massive coming from Real Madrid managers. So, yeah, I mean, they look dangerous at this moment in time, don't they?
They most certainly do. Let's move on to the 2 games that you were at. You saw Real Madrid play in Bergamo against Atalanta.
Yes.
And Alan, you watched, as you've said, Leipzig against Aston Villa. That looked a cracking. I mean, I saw quite a bit of it again. I was flicking around and watching the goal show, which is very similar to Final Score. I don't know whether you've watched it, but you also get to see the goals as well. Actually, see them makes a big difference. I've got that shovel here. I'm just digging it ever deeper. A cracking game though, Alan, wasn't it? I mean, it really was. And what a result for Villa. They've got themselves in with a real chance.
Yeah, it was. I'm pleased it was a great game because it was a trek to get there. It was bloody freezing.
Well, it's the old East Germany, wasn't it? It's that side. Yeah,
it was cold. It was, but the game more than made up for it. It was brilliant, and Villa came up with all the answers again. I mean, they made it difficult for themselves after getting off to a great start, scoring after a minute or two. John McGinn with a lovely finish, lovely goal, cross in, headed it back, and he was there to give them a great start, but Martinez made a huge error and allowed Leipzig...
Which is very unlike him, isn't it?
He's made a couple, hasn't he? He's made a couple of late, and certainly it was his fault for that first one the other night. And then it all just went mad in the second half. I mean, he took Ollie Watkins off with it. I think it was probably an injury he was carrying, and brought John Duran on, who I tell you was absolutely fantastic. Everything he did, his hold-up play, he's running with the ball. He scored another long ranger, albeit I think the keeper should have saved it. I don't know what he was doing, but to have the confidence to shoot from there anyway he was fantastic. So the manager's now got a decision, I think. Then it's great that they're pushing each other and they've got 2 very good centre forwards, but he'll be banging on the door to start on a more regular basis because He's a lot of his game time has been from the bench.
And he had a goal disallowed as well, Duran, didn't he? So
yeah, he did. Yeah, from really tight offside.
Ollie Watkins will obviously be under pressure. Can you play them both?
Not to start at the minute. No, I think if they're chasing games, and that's certainly an option. But he seems very reluctant to put them both up front because of what they want to do in the midfield, I think, and stiffen it up in midfield and be more or be tighter in there. So I don't see him playing them both on a regular occasion.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I sort of questioned whether they should play both of them up top as well. It's just I just thought they'd play 4-4-2 at times because that's how they press, you know. But Alan's right, you know, when they sort of drop in position, they sort of go and have that midfield really compact. So that's probably why they've not opted for it. But, you know, unless a team at home, maybe we'll see them both together. I would like to see the option just to see how they play together because, you know, normally people always talk about strikers, one go long, one go short, and vice versa. They both like to do the same thing at times, don't they? Even though Duran can hold it up. But you remember back in the days when it would one striker go down the line and one would run the channel, come back, and the other would run the channel. We don't see that in today's tactics, but yeah, I'd like to see them play together.
You know, Villa are having some season. I know they went through a sticky November, didn't they? Had a tough time, but they won the 2 league games. Southampton and Brentford, I think it was. They won the other night. What helped them hugely the other night was what they had, the firepower off the bench. You know, they brought Duran on, they brought Barkley on, they brought Buendia on, and they're a really good team. And with his experience, Unai Emery,
and his success in European competition,
absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're obviously in automatic qualifying place at this moment in time. That would be a great achievement already if Villa were to finish in that top 8, and they've got a great chance of doing so. Really impressed with them the other night.
Monaco away and then Celtic at home.
Oh,
and Celtic have given themselves a chance. I mean, another 0-0. They've had a few of those. Kasper Schmeichel clean sheet yet again. They had 1 or 2 near misses. But they've got a chance of getting in that middle section, the 9th to 24th. And the knockout stage, or the playoff stage, I should say, 9th will play 24th, 10th will play 23rd, and 11th will play 22nd, and so on and so on. So it's what they promised this competition. They promised it would, you know, it's got jeopardy right to the very end on pretty much every game that's played. And I think we're often critical of things when they fiddle with the game a little bit. The only downside to me would be that players are being asked to play more games. But aside from that, I think that it's been a resounding success. And we've not even got to the really exciting bit, which will probably be the last group of matches, and then the playoffs as well. So
totally agree. I'm definitely for it. I think it's worked very, very well. The excitement going into games. It seems as if on the vast majority of the games there's always something to play for, and there will be right up until the last game because it'll be incredibly tight. And I think for clubs and teams like Celtic, it can give them huge hope, and I think it's suited them because they have now got a really good chance of getting or staying in that middle section.
Yes, they have. Just going back to the Villa game, Alan, what did you make of Morgan Rogers' performance? And be kind here because he's going to come on the pod in the next week or two. So you can look forward to hearing that. Aston Villa fans particularly, of course. How did he do? I mean, he's making good progress.
I actually got asked that. I was travelled back with some Villa fans on the plane, and they were chatting, and they said the same thing. And I think there's a superstar in there. There's obviously many things can go right or wrong in your career, but if he can brush up on his finishing a little bit, and that ball in the final third, I think there's a potential superstar in there. I really do. I think the way he travels with the ball makes it look, and the way he goes past midfielders, defenders. He makes it look stupidly easy. So, yeah, I think there's a potential superstar in there. There's no doubt he's got unbelievable ability, but I think he can go past that, and if he brushes up on those one or two little things.
Yeah, I'd concur with that. We just need to be careful with him, because remember when Ramsey was coming through under Gerrard, and he was talking about him as being top level, and I still think he can be top level, but he had an injury and then they changed up the team and stuff like that. But I think Morgan Rogers is special, and I've said that from day one. I agree.
Tell us about your game, Micah. Big one. Atalanta, Real Madrid. You were there.
Oh, what a game it was. I was there in Bergamo. Oh, what a trip it was. I mean, the stadium is fantastic. The players that they have, entertaining as well. They were the top of Serie A at the time.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, top of Serie A as well. They play some great football. They play like, how can I explain it? Like a Man City with their press. But then Liverpool, the way under Klopp, the way they put everyone forward, and they can be got at times, but they really do play entertaining football. Gasparini's got them playing brilliantly well.
How did Madrid play with Vinicius and Mbappe and what? I know Mbappe did come off injured, did he? So
Mbappe come off injured in the game. Mbappe played as a number 9. But there was rotating a little bit. But Mbappe was class in the game. He was class. It's the best game I've seen him play for Real Madrid this season. He was sharp. He took his goal well. He was linking up. He was running into space. Vinicius played good roles though, because Vinicius was basically running in behind and leaving all the space for Mbappe, and then it would switch. But then for one of the goals, Vinicius comes really deep, attracts them out because the press really high, and then they're going behind. It was a really good performance. But my player of the match was Jude Bellingham, by far. Jude Bellingham was outstanding. You know what? We never talk about his work rate enough. He works so hard.
He runs himself ragged, doesn't he?
But when you're watching it live, and because there's an Englishman there, you say, okay, remember the old player cam? The old player cam, you're like, okay, I'm going to watch you for 90 minutes. I'm going to see what you do. And he gets the ball deep. He runs in behind. He goes and tackles. But it's his feet, the way he moves. Because he's quite a big lad, you know? But he's so nimble on his feet as well. He took his goal. Just a little drop of the shoulder. Comes on into his left foot. And then just caresses it into the net. What a superstar he is. He's got absolutely everything. We had an interview afterwards. He speaks sense. He's so happy. But he believes in his ability.
Yeah, I'm not sure he speaks that much sense, Micah, because I heard him say to you, Micah, you're so professional.
Yeah, because you know what? On CBS, we're lighthearted. We tried to make the interviews fun, tried to get the personality out. But you have to ask a couple of... I was on the road, and I'm not a reporter, you know. It's the first time I've been on the road with CBS as an actual reporter. Sometimes we go to the games as a team, and we ask, they come to the desk and we ask them questions. But I was actually leading the reporting, so I thought, come on, I've got to do 3 serious questions to start with. And then I asked about his mentality and all that, and where does that come from? We give some good answers. And after that, we just had a little bit of fun. But yeah, he
seemed really pleased to see you, Micah.
We got hugs. We got hugs in, of course.
You got hugs and all
We got hugs, and he was happy.
Big Meeks is mixing with the stars, man.
I'm taking us places.
Big Meeks with big bells.
I'm taking us places. You know what I mean? You're the old boys, the old legends. I'm bringing the new school through, you know? I'm keeping us relevant, baby.
Fantastic stuff. Let's round up one or two other things. Barcelona are in second place. That was a crazy second half there with Dortmund. It's got goalless at half time. I mean, they do play a bit riskily, let's say, Barcelona. They do allow a lot of chances against them, but they back themselves going the other way. It's a very handsy flick kind of side. They've struggled in the last few weeks a little bit with it after that breathtaking start that they had this season. Another incredible Lamine Yamal pass was involved in the game. So it was brilliantly entertaining. I watched quite a lot of that in the second half because it kept coming up on the goal show, which is actually nearly as good as final score.
You'll be getting an email.
I've got a question for you. I've got a question from you, Micah. It's pointless some sacking me now, though, isn't it, really? I mean, I've only got a few months left anyway. So I've got a question for you, Micah. Bayern Munich won 5-1 away from home. Some great performances, which we'll talk about in a minute. But obviously, Harry Kane's missing at the moment. So are Bayern Munich a better side without Harry Kane? Yes or no, Micah?
Yes or a no?
They definitely see a little bit more dynamic. There was no more pace. more dynamism. Is that a word, Gary?
It is now.
No, they are not a better team. Harry, we love you. Harry, we love you.
There was a very curious decision in that game.
There was some grumbles going on in the group between you two here. I mean, about what goal was he talking about? The Musiala disallowed goal?
No, it wasn't a foul, was it?
No, it wasn't a foul at all, was it? It wasn't a foul.
No, I was just trying to wind you boys up. I was just trying to get some conversation.
You were trying to say I was offside, Alan. And do you know what? I went back to the clip. You said
I didn't even say I was sat in the airport bored. I was just trying to create an argument.
What the hell you're on about? Because you said, yeah, but it's offside, and under the current laws, that's what it is. I went back to watch the goal about 5 times, and I'm thinking, how can it be offside? And then I thought, well, the only way, because the guy ran into the back of the net before, as he took the corner, and I thought, you can't be offside to the corner. And you're going, no, it's offside. And I'm thinking, what's he on about? So I then, for the first time ever, went to AI, right? I went to AI and I went, hey, Gemini. No, genuinely. Hey, Gemini, can you be offside from a corner in football? Brilliant. And he went, no, you cannot be offside from a corner in football because that is not possible. Honestly, you had me going, and Has was joined in going, I can't see an offside anyway. So I'm thinking they gave it against a foul against the goalkeeper. Honestly, you've had us going there for about 15, 20 minutes, you complete idiot.
Sorry, boys. I was just bored shitless in the airport, so yeah.
Did you see the Elise goal? I mean, the defending wasn't great, but my goodness, he glides past players and finished it with real aplomb. He's doing very well over there.
Sat the keeper down as well, didn't he? Brilliant goal.
I know you'll want to finish with this because I've seen you chuckle at this many times, Micah. Brest.
Yeah, you're so mature, Micah Richards, aren't you?
It's because he's a tit. They were an amateur side 20 years ago, but I mean they've got a chance of a top 8 place, which would be incredible. So I think they deserved a shout out, if only to hear Micah chuckle at it.
I'm not allowed to talk about breasts. To put it in my contract. No, but it's a great story, isn't it? It is a great story because before they got into the Champions League, you're looking at their players and you're thinking, there's no players that you know, or the manager who basically, I think was a pundit for 10 years and then comes into the team and then takes a team and takes them to the Champions League. It's just a crazy story.
There's hope for you yet, Micah.
Exactly. Big Beats, I've got a chance. Definitely. Premier League manager. Easy. It's easy.
Well, let's call it a day. We'll have a happy ending with Brest, okay? That's all for today's episode of the Rest is Football. We'll be back on Monday to review all the action from the weekend. And, of course, that means the Manchester derby as well as Newcastle versus Leicester. Ooh. I'm sure there'll be plenty to discuss. Have a great weekend, everyone. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.